Hey everyone, welcome back to The Explainer. Let's just dive right in today. If you've ever tinkered with hardware mods, specifically on the Nintendo Wii, you know the absolute ultimate nightmare is system corruption. It's what we in the community call bricking your console, literally turning a perfectly good piece of tech into an incredibly expensive paperweight. So today, we're looking at the ultimate showdown in system defense. We're breaking down the two BootMii installation methods from our source material, boot2 versus iOS. It's a pretty high-stakes battle of timing, security, and hardware limits. Let's get into it.
Now, this whole conflict really boils down to one core concept from the source. Quote, "The main difference lies in when the software loads and how much protection it offers." And honestly, that right there is the absolute crux of the entire debate. It's not just about having a backup plan installed on your device. It's about the exact chronological millisecond that your backup plan actually kicks into gear. Timing and security are the two ultimate stakes here, because if you get the timing right, your protection is practically ironclad.
And to really understand that level of security, we've got to talk about a specific term, brick protection. In practice, this means having the ability to access BootMii even if your system menu is completely, totally broken. Think about that for a second. The system menu is basically the heart of your whole user experience. If corruption wipes it out entirely, a standard unprotected system is just dead in the water, no way around it. So a seriously corrupted system relies entirely on this specific low-level safeguard to survive. Without brick protection, there is absolutely no coming back from a major crash.
All right, moving to Section 1, BootMii as boot2, subtitled The Ultimate Shield. Let's see why it gets that reputation.
Okay, the crucial thing to understand here is exactly how this boot sequence plays out in real time. First, your Wii powers on. Second, BootMii runs natively. And then, only at step 3 does the system menu or the Wii's internal operating system, the iOS, actually start up. BootMii as boot2 installs itself straight into the native boot sequence. It's basically stepping in line before anything else can even wake up. It's standing guard at the front gate the absolute second power hits the hardware.
And because it operates so incredibly early in that timeline, you get a massive advantage. It offers the absolute best brick protection. Why? Well, if your system menu is completely busted and fails to load, it doesn't even matter. BootMii has already loaded. It completely bypasses the damaged parts of the software. You can just access your recovery tools safely, completely untouched by whatever disaster ruined your system menu later on in the boot process. It's honestly a phenomenal safety net. But yeah, there's a major catch here, and it's a big one emphasized by the source. This is only possible on older Wii consoles. Manufacturers actually updated the hardware in later manufacturing runs to close off the specific vulnerability that makes this work. What that means for us is that this superior hardware-level method simply isn't an option for everyone. If you have a newer console, you are totally locked out of utilizing this incredible native boot sequence protection.
Which brings us to Section 2, BootMii as iOS, or the standard alternative. This is the fallback reality for all those consoles that just can't use the boot2 method.
Let's carefully unpack how this alternative operates because it's fundamentally different. Instead of embedding deep into the hardware sequence, BootMii as iOS installs just like a standard file. Because of that, it doesn't run automatically at startup. You actually have to launch it manually, usually by going through the HOMEBREW channel first. But here is the real kicker. It's dependency. It relies on the Wii being able to boot far enough to actually load an internal operating system. Instead of guarding the front gate before the system boots, it's kind of waiting inside the house, just hoping the system can open the front door in the first place.
And as you might guess, that reliance creates a major vulnerability. Because it needs the Wii to boot up to a certain functional point first, the source notes it inherently offers less protection if the system is seriously corrupted. Think about the consequence here. If your system is so badly broken that it can't even reach the point where standard operating systems load, well, you can never open the HOMEBREW channel, which means you can never launch BootMii. A severe enough corruption will lock you out of your recovery tools entirely. The safety net is there, sure, but you might not actually be able to reach it when you need it the absolute most.
Let's move on to Section 3, weighing your protection, the direct matchup, bringing this to our final conclusion.
Let's just put these side by side to really cement this. On one side, we have BootMii as boot2, the native booting champion. It runs before the system menu even starts, giving you the absolute best brick protection available. It's completely proactive. On the other side, we have BootMii as iOS, the standard file fallback. It has to be launched manually via the HOMEBREW channel, offering significantly less brick protection because it is purely reactive. It requires your system to be at least somewhat functional just to turn on. That's the core difference right there.
proactive, unshakable hardware-level security versus reactive, reliant software-level vulnerability.
So I want to leave you with this final, somewhat provocative question. If your Wii's system menu breaks tomorrow, will your BootMii installation actually save it? Think about what we've covered in this explainer today. The safety of your entire console depends completely on which of these two exact methods you've got running under the hood. Are you protected by the invincible early loading shield of boot2, or are you just hoping your system manages to boot far enough to load an iOS file? It's a highly technical distinction for sure, but as we've seen from the source material, it's literally the exact difference between a minor software hiccup and losing your console forever. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and stay curious.